This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
That is Alain Poupart. Yeah, no, you got to back up, bro. What the hell is that, bro? What the hell is that? Come on, we got to see the hat the whole time. There you go. There, see, there we go. There we go. You have a standard you have set. We got to live up to it now. You know, it's the way it is. All right, so the Dolphins have interviewed 3 different offensive coordinators. We know Mike McDaniel is going to call the plays. So this is a guy that's probably going to help design and probably be groomed, because that's what I kind of told people, that I think Mike's going to call, but I'm sure in a perfect world, you want to groom in a couple of years the guy that you want to take over so you can kind of become more of a full-time head coach. But your thoughts on what they've done so far, and do you see any of those kind of elements involved in it?
Well, here's the thing is, I think what Mike McDaniel would want is maybe somebody the way he had it in San Francisco, where he was kind of like the running game guru and Kyle Shanahan was the passing game guru. Well, now maybe he wants a passing game guru to work alongside him and work in collaboration, the famous word, to develop the game plan every week, and maybe not necessarily give up the reins of doing the play calling and looking for a successor, because we look at Sean McVay, who's still doing it 5 years down the road, and obviously that's worked out pretty well for him. So
what I mean is Shanahan gave those responsibilities to McDaniel last year. So I'm just saying, eventually I would imagine he wants to do what his mentor did with him at the same time. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it would be a few years down the line, you know, when something like that would happen. That's the only reason I brought it up.
No, that's not clear, though, because I do understand you had a guest on who said that it was McDaniel who was calling the plays last year, and I talked to somebody who told me it was Shanahan calling the plays, and I know other people who are saying it's Shanahan who called the plays. So it's kind of nebulous. And again, I mean, we spent half a season wondering who was calling the plays for the Dolphins. So
were those beat people that you talked to? Because she's a beat person. Yes. Jennifer Lee Chan is a beat person. She said they explained it to her, like them. Like San Fran explained it, that he made all the calls to Shanahan, and then Shanahan relays the call to the quarterback. Of course, he can tweak stuff, but if you gave the guy the ability to make the play calls, I doubt you're going to be changing a lot of stuff at this point. The guy was with them for 15 years.
No, I understand.
Like he earned that right last year.
I understand that, but again, I'm looking also at the Rams model, and who knows? I mean, only McDaniel knows the answer of how long he wants to be calling plays. But I think more important than anything else, and based on what he told us and the way he's operated, is I think he wants to focus on
a favor. Ask him the next time you see him.
Of course.
Because now you can kind of – the first press conference was not for that shit. You can't do that now. But the next time you see him, hey, coach, by the way, were you making all the play calls last year to Shanahan, yes or no? And that's it. And I'm sure – he'll clear up how it all was done, and he'll say it. That's what we need.
No, correct. And he's from what I can gather, he might be cool enough to tell us, like in an informal session, not without like having the spotlight.
You're not giving any secrets by saying that, anyways. You're not saying anything.
No, and well, again, different coaches operate different ways, as we very well know down here, right? Am I right?
I know where you're going. Yes.
Okay. So,
can't argue with that, dude.
No, but he doesn't strike me as somebody who, like,
yeah,
you know, every single thing is a national secret.
Right. He's not that petty that he's worried so much about all that crap. No, you're right about that. I'm really happy for you guys. Really happy for you guys, and really happy for me too, because as a fan now I get to read more in depth about our team now and players and things like that I think we're going to have a different atmosphere in that sense there. You know what I'm saying?
No. And there's certain things, like, I mean, for example, look at the opener last year. I mean, we didn't know who the starting offensive line until they basically warmed up 90 minutes before the game. That's really a competitive advantage. I mean, that there were a lot of things, and there's certain things I understand you don't want to like divulge too much, but there are other things that's like, it's really not that major of a deal. You can tell us, you know, and everything was, we'll see, we'll evaluate, we'll examine. And there are times you could see by watching practice and the way they're warming up, where it's really clear a guy's playing or guys not playing. Like one time, Preston Williams has like a scout team jersey on during warm-ups, which we're allowed to watch. So obviously he's not playing. And then you ask him about it. Well, we'll see. We have decisions to make. I mean, again, is it really the end of the world to let us know what's, No.
I mean, the whole offensive play calling stuff was just a joke. Like that was some kind of a secret that NFL teams are going to figure you out even more by knowing who's calling plays or not. Give me a break, dude. Okay. I mean, it just gets to a point where it's ridiculous. That's why I'm happy for you guys. And then we're going to benefit as readers.
No, without question. Because I mean, God. We're conduits between the team and the fans, and if they're not telling us anything, we have to dig for stuff, and we're basically, it's not as you get an official word, and the coach is actually telling you things that there's no reason he shouldn't be telling you. So going back to the question, the 3 guys they've talked to is Frank Smith, Charles London, Curtis Johnson. We got the one guy with the UM ties who's got a very good reputation around the NFL. Curtis would have no issue with that, and he's obviously well versed in the passing game. So. And he's been in the NFL. And as I mentioned to you before, for me, I'd like some NFL experience in the assistant coaches, which is why I'm a little bit, while I want to give the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt, the reports that they're hiring Matt Applebaum from BC as the O-line coach.
The only thing there, and I'm with you, I would like NFL experience, and I know he has minimal NFL experience.
As an offensive assistant, that's not.
Yeah, it's not much. I know that. And a personnel assistant also for 3 years. None of that means anything to me. But here's the problem that we're running into right now overall as a league, and we have to all adjust to all of this. You and I grew up where college was taking elements of the NFL to add to their game. Well, that's changed now in the last 10 years. Now it's the NFL stealing the elements of college to the NFL. And so, like everybody was talking about, Munchak. Well, Munchak doesn't teach zone blocking, so you can't hire Munchak. And I don't even know if McDaniel Munchak even had a relationship, so who knows if he could have hired him. But the point is, you may be running elements now that not everybody in the NFL teaches. And so maybe that was the challenge for him, and he had to find somebody. And from what I understand, Jeff Haley, the head coach for Boston College, and McDaniel worked together for a couple of years in San Francisco. So that's where the connection is with Applebaum. So Haley must have given him one hell of a recommendation, because obviously he's looking for a specific blocking scheme that as he's told us, he's been coaching the same scheme for 15 years with 6 different teams. So the dude ain't changing. So he probably looked at that guy and said, he teaches the elements that I need. And so maybe in certain cases, you may not find the ideal NFL candidate with the experience you need for certain things that you want to run, i.e. zone blocking scheme. I'm just saying.
No, that's fair. But again, to me, and we just went through having a first-time an NFL offensive line coach, and I think you and I.
Yeah, no, but even this guy, he's not as accomplished. Okay, he's not as accomplished as this guy. This guy taught at Boston College, and his guys got all ACC honors and stuff.
Okay, time out.
He's pretty good. It's pretty good at least.
Okay, time out. Here's the thing, and I looked up the numbers too, and I talked to somebody very familiar with the program, actually, who didn't exactly give me like a massive stamp of approval on the guy. And here's the thing. Yeah, they had 4 offensive linemen who earned some kind of all ACC recognition in 2021, 2 on the first team, 1 second, 1 third. Okay. They also had a second team running back and a third team wide receiver. All of that is completely awesome. Boston College was dead last, 14th out of 14 in the ACC in total offense. Now you want to tell me
the passing game was terrible, right?
And part of that was from what I was told, part of that was the pass blocking wasn't up to snuff. And
by the way, they also had injuries too.
That's fine, but again, I'm looking at, and this is a guy who has 2 years at Boston College. Before that, it's Towson Towson State and University. Sorry, and then Davidson. Okay, along with the stints in the NFL, which are not like high-level stints. So, yeah, you'll have to forgive me if I have a degree of skepticism.
Yeah, that's
with
fair.
although I will give him the benefit of the doubt, but my gut reaction was like, or my initial reaction was like, "Whoa, really? Okay."
Yeah, yeah. You know what I thought of? I thought of the word he said, relationships. He said this business is all about relationships. And then I go back, he must know this Haley guy. And this Haley guy must have said, hey, dude, we had these issues this guy can coach. This is a really good coach. You're getting a good coach. You know, don't pay attention to this, because coaches will tell each other the real crap that went on behind the scenes that you and I may not know. And hell, a lot of people didn't know what was going on behind the scenes with the Dolphins and the Flores mess and all that. So there must be something with McDaniel and Haley that Haley must have convinced him, like, no, this is a really good coach that's up and coming. You should take him. So that's what I thought of. I thought of that word, relationships. He must trust the hell out of that Boston College coach, because those two, Applebaum and McDaniel, have no connection whatsoever.
Well, obviously, without question, that he got like a major recommendation from the guy, and probably like maybe obviously then watch some tape of what the BC linemen were doing and develop the comfort level and hiring the guy. I'm just looking at it like, and I kind of looked at the BC numbers, 4.1 yards per carry last year, which was like, I believe 11th in the ACC.
All fair critiques on your part, by the way.
Everyone. No, and that's the thing. That's what gives me hesitation and the lack of experience at the NFL level. You combine those two. Now, if it was a guy who had like, if the BC stats were like awesome all over the place, I could way more easily dismiss the fact that he has no experience as an NFL offensive line coach. Right now, I don't have that, and he may turn out.
And by the way, here's where you and I get screwed on this one, because I can't challenge you because I'll fail it too. So who is available in the NFL that teaches zone blocking and is really good? I have no idea.
No, I don't know. I never did the research.
That's the only way you and I can argue this and say, well, they shouldn't have hired Matt Applebaum. They should have hired, and we don't know. And that's the part of this argument that's kind of screwed up, because he's looking for a specific blocking scheme. I would imagine that if there was somebody out there available that is in the NFL, I would think he would go after the guy. So if he goes to college, right, but again, I'm not smart enough to know who is the zone blocking coach that is available right now in the NFL, not under contract for the 2022 season. Who can answer that? I can't. I'm not smart enough. So, I mean, I'm not smart enough, period, but not even for this.
Same here. I have that same issue, but we fight through it. But you make a good point though, because if you're going to say if you don't like him, then who? Which is kind of like completely different topic. But when you talk about the Hall of Fame, Dolphin fans were all up in arms. Well, Zach Thomas should have been in there. Yeah, okay, but then who do you take out?
I would have taken out Sam Mills. I'm sorry.
Actually, eligibility. I think there was like a little bit of a sympathy vote there, if you ask me.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Compare the two, Zach's more deserving than Sam Mills.
Yeah, his stats are better. Period.
Yeah.
So I mean, and I like Sam Mills. I don't want to crap on the man's career. He had one hell of a career. Every human being should admire Sam Mills, because when people can't overcome adversity, go look at Sam Mills, and that's a perfect example of overcoming adversity and showing heart and character. I mean, you have to admire Sam Mills. But wow, man. I got to tell you, it just hurts not to see Zach in there, by the way.
He'll get there. He'll get there. He just has to wait his time. And truth is, it's a process with very, very few exceptions. Most guys have to wait.
By the way, Omar Kelly almost gave me a heart attack on Friday. He thinks Reggie Wayne is better than Andre Johnson. Let me test you now.
I'm sorry if I don't know if you saw me roll my eyes real quickly. Not even close.
Okay.
Sorry.
Right. I tried to explain to him that he played with Matt Schaub, that Andre Johnson was probably one of the 10 greatest talents to play wide receiver ever in the NFL. Period.
No, he was.
I don't care about stats or whatever. That physical talent and speed, I don't know how many guys have had that ever in the history of the NFL, bro. he just didn't play with a great quarterback.
Never.
That guy was
Even who do you have outside of Cham? I'm trying to remember because it was him most of his career. But
he had that North Carolina kid that came in for 1 year that he filled in at quarterback.
TJ Yates. What are you talking about?
Yates. Yes, yeah. Yates.
Yeah.
He had some really just. I mean, he had garbage, bro. Just straight up hot garbage he played with, man.
No,
I mean, Irving Fryer had a lot of that in his early years with Mark Wilson and crap like that in New England before he got to Miami. Like he had his when he got Marino and then went back to Philly, those were his best years with his best quarterbacks. But before that, he had a Hall of Fame career with garbage at quarterback, dude. He was one of those guys.
And I'm not even sure it's close. To me, it's crystal clear Andre Johnson was better. And you put, and again, that's always the problem when you're looking at Hall of Fame candidates at wide receiver, like who they played for. And we have that here with the Dolphins, like Mark Clayton and Duper. Don't tell me they didn't benefit from playing with Marino, because they did.
They did.
And Reggie Wayne benefited greatly from playing with Peyton Manning. There's no two ways about it. Now I think Marvin Harrison is better than Reggie Wayne. I like Reggie Wayne and I like the U, so this is not a U shot. But I think you put Reggie Wayne with mediocre quarterbacks, I don't think his numbers anywhere near what they are, and I don't know that he ever qualifies as special or that he's sniffing the Hall of Fame, where Andre Johnson would have been a stud no matter where he played.
Reggie was a hell of a talent and one of the better route runners ever, and so precise. That's what made him a really good receiver, man, overall. So, yeah, no, Reggie for me is a beast. But, man, Andre Johnson was special, man. Like special, like a freak.
That's what I say, freakish ability.
Yeah, bro. He's the Randy Moss types. He's the DeAndre Hopkins types. He's just one of those kind of guys that is just next level, bro. Very few people are like that. All right, what are you working on Sports Illustrated so folks can check you out, my friend?
Yeah, I think that's about time to start looking ahead a little bit, assessing where the Dolphins stand at every position and looking what's in the future.
Ryan Jensen, write it in. Sign Ryan Jensen. There'll be an exodus right now from Tampa now that Brady's gone.
Is he gone though? Is he ever gone? Will he ever be gone?
I don't know, but the problem is you have to make a decision within a couple of weeks, Bubba, because free agency is coming and people want to get paid.
But what I read was June 1st is when they have to kind of classify whether they're going to release him, put him on reserve retired. But he's done with the Bucs anyway. So,
but by then your exodus had happened already. He's not coming back because you're going to lose a whole bunch of people. Personally, I would sign Jensen and Alex Kappa. That's just me. But, whatever. But that's what I want to see in your articles. Go get Ryan Jensen at center. Tua needs an exceptional center.
It's funny you should mention that because I did a mailbag this weekend, and one of the questions was, okay, you're the Finns. Who's the first free agent you call on March 14th when you can start, talking with them? And I mentioned, either Orlando Brown Jr. or Ryan Jensen.
Ryan Jensen.
Orlando Brown's not going anywhere.
No, they're not.
There's also a report.
Dude, they traded for him. They're tagging his ass.
Correct. That's why he's not going anywhere. But there's a report this weekend that the Bucs are going to swing for the fences for a new quarterback to replace Brady because they have they still have a nucleus of a team that can make it.
So they're trading for Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson?
That's what the suggestion was, or Deshaun Watson. That's what the implication was.
Ooh, wow. I don't know. Do they have the ammo to trade for Watson?
The ammo, dude, you can make the ammo.
The other two guys are older, so you're not going to have to give up as much for the older guys. But the younger guy, those people in Houston are going to ask for the world.
No question.
For that guy.
But if you're the Bucs, though, your window may not be infinite. So maybe you go for a Wilson or Rodgers just to maximize that short window you have. And
you brought up something very interesting. You said window. Mm-hmm. Just reminded me of something. You just talked about the Brady thing by June 1st. They're not going to find out about the Watson stuff by free agency. So if that clears up later on in the spring or summer, right around June 1st, then that's when Tampa, they lost all these people. They're going to have cap space, all that. That's when they can probably make that move, because very few teams at that point are going to have the cap space, because they had already committed money in free agency and the draft and all of that. And by June, they won't have that cap space. Tampa, if they are decimated and lose Brady, they might be able to do it, because he might be then, I don't know if cleared or whatever, or gone through whatever the case is.
His legal situation will be
right. Because I don't believe it's going to be done by free agency, his legal situation at all. I don't think so.
There's been buzz that it could be in the next few weeks something is gonna move. But I would still maintain that if you're the Bucks, that one of the other two guys makes more sense, because you want to trade fewer assets and you don't need a quarterback for 5-10 years, because again, that team's going to have to be dealt with and may be disassembled over pretty soon.
Right. I agree with you. It makes 100 total sense to go after the other two guys for the short-term hit and not a long-term pain also at the same time with the trades. I'm with you there. All right, follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL. More importantly, catch his work there at Sports Illustrated. Every Dolphin fan on the planet needs to bookmark his page. He is Alain Poupart. Alan, thank you as always, my brother. We'll catch you later in the week.
Sounds good. You be good.
You got it. There you go. Love it. Alain Poupart and our Sports Grill Miami Dolphins report.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.